Hello and welcome to SquishiVision, where I am reacting to Star Trek Lower Decks episode. Let's get rid of that notification. Episode 9, penultimate episode of Lower Decks, because next week's finale and last episode of the show. Exciting. I haven't got my Stream Deck thing up on my phone, which I need. I don't really need it, but it's nice to have. There's also blood on my phone for some reason. This episode wasn't hinged. That's really the only way to kind of describe it. Keep moving this thing and I keep not moving to. I want to move my camera. Where's my camera? What am I? Oh, it's a test card. That's not an issue. My camera? There we go. It's multiple unhinged. I mean, the whole premise. So it felt like episode of What If, but with characters we hadn't really been introduced, except we kind of had been introduced to them. So we all had basically variants of different characters. It's like I'm not sure if there's much rhyme or reason to the cameos. It might just be whichever voice actor they could get in. It did seem kind of that way. I mean, they needed a Vulcan. Could be any Vulcan. Got T'Pol. It's nice to have T'Pol back in the show. It made sense for Garak and Bashir to be together. So I feel like they managed to get one or the other and then try to get the other, and they were happy to get the other person. Obviously the Kim thing I think is a big thing. But other than that, and then obviously they got we finally, and I forgot about this lost thread, but we finally got William Boimler back in the show, because I think that was like a cold teaser to an episode previously where it was like, I think it was an episode where Brad was trying to like come to grips with mortality, and it came about because of him hearing news that William had died. And it was kind of like a throwaway reveal at the end, but actually William hadn't died. And now we pick it up, and apparently he got recruited in Section 31, got promoted from lieutenant to captain in about a space of a year and a half, and got put on this top secret mission to work out why these like quantum rifts were happening, and were for some reason picking up random crew members who were stranded from other realities. And obviously there's a joke that a bunch of them are Kims. I like that we don't really have, like, I headcanon that despite the jokes, almost very certainly, definitely, Harry Kim, on returning to the Alpha Quadrant, got promoted. That's like a given. There's enough alternate reality versions of that of him being a captain that's probably almost certainly true. Still doesn't take away from the frankly bizarre fact that he didn't get promoted at all during the run of Voyager, but I wholeheartedly believe he got promoted when he got back. And I like that this episode makes a joke about that, but like none of these Kims are explicitly post Voyager, or at least not like too long after Voyager. Well, actually no, a lot of them are after Voyager, but or at least those of them who have gotten home are post Voyager, but I imagine not too long after. One would hope. Like, I think Prime Kim was almost certainly not still an ensign. Maybe Alpha makes points about a lot of the kind of the variations we've seen. Our commentaries on fan backlash, like the fact that Trip dies at the end of Enterprise, and in this version Trip lives for decades longer with T'Pol. The shipping between Garak and Bashir is canon between these two. There's not really much for Curzon. My Curzon was there. Curzon was just there. I did like the kind of abundance of Kim's kind of sequence. That was kind of funny. And I liked the characterization of William Boimler. I like also the different characterization of Engineer Mariner. It's and what I actually like with episodes is the thesis that, so the thing about Star Trek, and sci-fi as a whole, particularly Star Trek, that people who complain about being too woke forget is that Star Trek isn't about space adventures. Star Trek is about humanity. This is a big thing about Discovery as well. Star Trek explores different facets of what it means to be human by exploring the aliens who represent parts of humanity. That's why when you depict aliens in a particularly problematic way, it's still problematic because they're meant to be reflections of certain parts of humanity. You're still commenting parts of humanity, and but you mean like, also you do that very well. You can take generally bad parts of humanity and make it like an entire alien species, and when you criticize alien species, what you're doing is criticizing humanity. Discovery did things differently. Discovery, for a lot of its run, criticized humanity by being very reflective of its crew rather than other places they explored, which I felt was nice and different. And this show kind of reinforces that thesis, where Sloan is like, well, we don't care about discovering new alien lives because seeing how humanity is different in different realities tells us a big thing about ourselves, and it's just a different way of looking at variations and using it as being reflection. So I like that kind of examination of the thesis of Star Trek. I was about to say a whole bunch of different shows, including Harry Potter and Doctor Who for some reason. So that was kind of nice. I like the reveal that the enemy isn't actually enemy; it was purely an accident. I like the fact that we got different like flavors of Boimler, different flavors of Mariner that slightly like played around with dynamic a bit differently. I always love seeing the Enterprise crew tops. So I think they're a nice design. Andrew Robertson back in the show, and Alexander Siddig back in the show. Big fans of that. And then we now set up for a pretty interesting finale. It in a sense I think does represent a lot of what the show's building up to thematically, I think, in an appropriate way. Basically, the show's about growth. It's about the growth of these junior deckers, lower deckers, into much more mature people who overcome their flaws. This episode kind of is interesting because the pivotal episode isn't actually focused on our characters at all. It focuses on completely original characters, except for William Boimler, but again, there's a very much passing character. But it does do it in a way to set up our characters, and I think that's fine. Next episode's gonna have to do a lot of heavy lifting as finale. I don't know if they intended it to be the finale, so that's a thing. But obviously, I mean, it plays into the thesis of identity. Like Boimler and to a lesser extent Rutherford have become obsessed with being different people, who they are, to try and like chase this idea of success. Mariner has now embraced the fact that she is on a trajectory of being an officer, and there hasn't really been much growth, I don't think, in Tendy's side. We had a lot of that earlier in the season, not so much in the later part of the season. And I guess there's the potential for this final episode to kind of give a thesis statement of those characters. It's given them a big world-ending problem, and I hope that, but one that doesn't really have much kind of weight or background or like depth to it. So my hope is that that's a simple enough problem to solve that we don't need to deal too much with that. Not in a way which makes it trivial. Not in a way which we get too caught up with that. So we can focus on this character study and focus on the characters in the character study rather than just the plot and the jokes. And they're all able to kind of come to like a satisfactory end of the arc. So that's my thoughts on this. I am going to end the stream here because I want to do some trailer reactions for some new trailers. I think Dog 2 trailer and the new Section 31 trailer has come out. So I think you want to do some reactions to that. So I'm going to get that set up. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you very, very shortly. Bye. Oh, I should probably put these on and then say bye. And then say the catchphrase I've settled on, which is get out of my house.